lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Beyond.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Beyond, episode 374. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
It's good to be here today.
It's good to have you here today, Colin. It's good. Any day with you is a good day, as I always
Thanks,
say. Look at that
appreciate
collarbone. It's a choice collarbone, is what I like to call it.
Because it broke when I was young.
I know. Back in 2001.
It's a fine collarbone, and with that hat on, I keep expecting you to start saying Mega in front of everything, kind of like a Captain N character.
Dr. Wily.
Dr. Wily.
Oh, no, not that's a different one. That's like Elmer Fudd Mega Man from the cartoon. I'm talking
we
about
can walk
Captain
that.
N
Yeah,
Mega
of
Man,
course.
or it's like Mega High. You know,
that Captain N it's a very nostalgic show, but it also was not a very good show.
No, it was not good.
You're wearing a hat that was sent to us as part of one of the other shows we do, that Game Over Greggy show. No note in the bag. No note as to who sent you this Mega Man hat.
But here I am with it on.
But here it is. And has anybody? We tweeted it earlier. Nobody's responded to the tweet that I've seen saying I sent that.
I don't know, but I appreciate the mystery man or woman that sent it along.
Whoever did that, thank you very much for caring about.
Did I look handsome in it?
This audience. You look amazing.
You look handsome, but I worry that it might contain like a skin contact poison or something.
No,
like
it came out of the bag. It came out of a clear.
Came out of a clear bag.
Yeah.
So things in bags can't be poisoned.
No,
Totally.
definitely. That's what
What
I've
if it's
heard.
like pre-poisoned in the factory?
No, nobody's that smart.
I mean, come on. If you
No,
just
there's
want
no way
somebody
that
to
could
trust it,
possibly ever happen.
Pre-factory poison.
Hey,
absolutely.
Sam Claiborne's waiting.
Hey,
What's up, Sam?
Hey, Sam Claiborne.
You're
Hi.
leaving. Bye, Sam.
Bye.
Will we see you before Christmas?
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Oh, many weeks.
Do you need
Okay,
to talk
bye.
to Sam?
Many
We
weeks.
good?
Many weeks.
Do I need to
Bye.
come running out?
We love you.
Do you need me to come running out? No. Oh, okay. All right. There we are.
Over here, in
That's
the
my
Marty
boss.
Sleva permanent chair of non-rotation,
That's right.
is the Reverend Jared Petty.
That's right. I have consumed Marty. He's very skinny.
Yeah.
I ate him. I did get his beard caught in my throat a little
wow.
bit. But eventually, I got all of him down. He's inside me now, and I'm here in the chair. So Marty's still here. He's just inside my body.
I like thinking Marty's inside all of us.
Well, I mean, you know, there is a little Marty deep inside. It's like the end of Godzilla 2000. Isn't there a little Godzilla inside each of us?
Yeah. Is that what they said at the end? I don't
Something
remember
very
that.
similar. Yeah, it's
Okay.
like maybe there's a little of Godzilla inside all
Man,
of
that
us.
movie was bad.
Yeah, Godzilla 2000?
Yeah.
That is, but The Kiss of Death, that was like so famous from the recent Godzilla movie, actually has its origin in Godzilla 2000. If you remember, that's how he kills the monster at the end of that movie made 14 years ago. Kiss of Death, same way. Like, has his head down his throat and then blows him up.
Yeah, but it was cooler in this new one.
It was much cooler than the
I like the Godzilla with the Puff Daddy song in it.
Yeah, the Robert Page, right?
Come with me.
Yeah. Come with me. Jared Petty, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
We'll start at the top level. Marty is still the permanent third chair. It's just Christmas time. It's holiday time.
Yeah.
He's gone back to Wisconsin.
That's right.
So now going down another layer. Jared Petty is here. This is your first Podcast Beyond back since the dark period.
Since the dark times before the Empire. Yeah, and the dark times are getting brighter. Okay, so, you know, guys, Podcast Beyond fans, listeners, Romans, countrymen, etc., and beyond. Thank you for, I can't begin. Now here I am stuttering. Hundreds and hundreds of members of the Beyond Nation, as well as the Podcast Unlocked fan base and a bunch of the other IGN fan base, came out and helped my family in a myriad of different ways. I received thousands of tweets and dozens of emails and letters and hundreds of donations to the GoFundMe that Ryan Palmer set up for my family in the middle of all this. And the Game Over Greggy show came out and helped, and Beyond helped, and Unlocked helped, and IGN helped, and IGN, the company, reached out and helped. I don't deserve this kind of tidal wave of generosity, but you changed my life. My wife and I's life, despite the terrible thing that happened, is enormously better than it would be otherwise if you weren't here. I can't tell you what you did, how much difference it made, how when it comes to the financial end, how much that's helped. But also when it came to sitting there at 2 a.m. alone in the dark and just getting a 3-line letter or a 3-paragraph letter from somebody in the middle of the night saying, "Hey man, it's all right. I know what this is like." It saved me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm kind of monopolizing here.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're allowed to do that.
Without being, I mean, I don't know how to do this without being melodramatic.
There's nothing
There's
melodramatic
nothing about what's happened.
But yeah,
I want to. I mean, if we can get a word in here edgewise, you deserve everything you got. You just said you don't deserve it. You deserve everything you got. You're
Nobody
the nicest guy
deserves
at
to be
IGN.
given that much,
they do.
and the way people have given it. And again, it's a dark thing. This is going to go on for months, guys. So, and she's not going to walk for a long time.
So to bring everybody up to speed, some people pop in and out of Podcast Beyond. Maybe they missed this episode a while back. You guys were involved in a car accident.
Yeah. A woman who was a DUI came up the Bay Bridge in San Francisco the wrong way, which is a very difficult thing to do, and hit his head on. And I walked out. It was a very terrible accident, but I was in like the 3 square feet of car that weren't destroyed somehow. My wife was almost killed, and she suffered ridiculously extensive injuries. She came about as close to dying as you can and not die. Yeah. That's really what happened. And injuries to her neck, her skull, her legs, her arm, her ribs, her spleen, her on and on and on, her eye, her ear, And she's in a long, long, long recovery process that's both very frightening and very expensive and very difficult. She can only, use one hand at this point correctly, and neither of her legs right yet. And it just takes bones a long time to heal, but she's working at it. And she's to say trooper is a gross understatement to her virtues. I've always loved her. I've always been proud of her. I have seen even more formidable depths of her character than I realized were there in the midst of her recovery in this. And of course, we're all worshipful of those we love, but she's been really great. So and we're in the middle of that, and the community reached out and helped us in a lot of ways, continues to help us in a lot of ways, and one day she's going to walk out of that place. And like I said, the walking's probably a ways off still. Yeah. But she'll have to have her eyes fixed. Her hearing's permanently damaged. Her hand, they're working on that. Maybe the hearing, they'll get some of it back. We're working on that. We'll see. So, okay. How that goes. Sorry, long talk there.
No, everybody wants updates.
But yeah, that's the update, guys.
All the time.
The update is that she suffered absolutely no brain damage. There's no paralysis. The surgery that they did on her neck that they were very worried about turned out very well. She's no longer in mortal danger. It's just a matter of bones healing, muscles healing, learning to function, nerves healing as much as they can. She's eventually going to have surgery to fix her eye, and we'll see what happens. We're not sure what's going to go on with the ear yet. We're not sure how well that hand's going to work, but it's healing well. Okay. She's bionic. I mean, she's made out of metal now. Yeah, which is cool.
That's cool.
She's got so much metal in her that I guess she's like airport metal detectors are now.
She has to walk with a permanent doctor's note.
Yeah, kind of. That's what we're hearing. So.
Yeah, I think it's good to hear that. I was lucky enough. I reflect on the fact that I was lucky enough to meet your wife just weeks before this happened, because we went to dinner together with my girlfriend, and right before, a lot of people asked the documentary that Jared and I were in, and I narrated, and Jared is extensively a talking head in World 1-1. Which is a documentary about the early history of video games, which we're really proud of being in. And
real quick, it isn't out yet. You can't get it yet.
Yeah, I don't know if backers. It was a Kickstarter project that we were approached by about long after they funded it, and we both are talking heads on it. I narrate like the beginning and the end of it,
and say lots of intelligent things in between.
Thanks. Yeah. I think we both did a nice job. Pear's in it. Sam Claiborne's in it.
Sam's in it.
And just a ton of OGs from the industry. But anyway, we went to a nice Thai restaurant right before the premiere of it in San Francisco, and I was lucky enough to meet your wife. And one of the things I was reflecting on to my girlfriend Cheryl was, no one deserves something like this to happen to them. Even the worst people, you don't want them to suffer like this. But this always seems to happen to the people that really.
The nicest.
Don't deserve it.
The super nice people.
And your wife is really one of those people. She was immediately it was evident how stand-up she was. And, even though she's suffering immeasurable, pain right now and really going through a lot, the good news is that even though she's had head injuries and back injuries, her spine is okay, and her brain's okay, and those are the two things that are really essential.
Her personality remains completely intact, and her body is largely going to catch up from what we're hearing. I mean, the prognosis with the therapy is going really well so far. So, and thank you for the kind things you said about her. And Beyond, folks, this is a company. We're an entertainment website, and we talk about a mutual love that we have for video games with you every week, and we're ridiculously fortunate to sit here and get paid money to do this. You guys turn this into something more than an industry, or more than a business, or more than an entertainment, or even more than a fan relationship. You created something I've never experienced in my life, and you guys made that happen just out of the kindness of your hearts. And these two gentlemen here next to me, likewise, who have done more for me than I'll ever be able to repay. But also to you guys out there. Yeah, you did. You didn't have to. And again, it just goes on, and you guys did a lot. I want to sit here and praise IGN for what they did for me. The company itself did things they did not have to do just to make my life better, and I'll never cease to be grateful. And so did so many people within this place, but you guys especially, I owe a lot to. And Beyond, thank you. I know that's inadequate, but thank you.
Your family, it's what we do for each other. You know that.
Yeah, people talk about family. It just is. It's noble. It's no crap. It's real.
Yeah.
And I will never be able to stop believing that after what I've experienced.
Well, great. We're glad to have you back.
Thanks.
Let's talk about video
Here we
games.
are. Video games!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is IGN's PlayStation Podcast, the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet. Each and every Tuesday, we post it as an MP3 on IGN.com and your favorite podcast service of choice. Then on Wednesday, the video goes up on IGN.com, YouTube.com/IGN, and IGN's completely free PlayStation 4 app. It's worth noting, Colin Moriarty, that it's holidays. Lots of people missing shows. Podcast Beyond with Greg and Colin at the helm never does that.
No.
Never has, never will.
No, we don't miss
We missed
them.
one recently because Colin doesn't know how to work the stuff when I'm not here.
But I feel like the average, I was thinking about this because people, we were talking to some of our bosses that were surprised that we were even going to be recording over the break. And they're like, how, do you guys never miss an episode? I'm like, no, we miss an episode, but I really feel like it's the average of episodes that we miss are fewer than one a year. Like
Yeah.
the average is like maybe 0.7 episodes a year.
Yeah,
or
I think
something
that's
like that.
fair. That's
Yeah,
good.
that
I'm
sounds about
surprised
right.
you don't know this off the top of your head, honestly. I figured you'd have,
Well, it's
you'd
such
have a detailed log.
it's easier to remember the ones we've missed because it happens such once in a blue moon, and we haven't missed. The holidays used to be a thing, and then when I stopped going places, we just started doing them at the
Yeah,
house.
I just don't want to go anywhere anymore.
Deep frying turkeys, talking up Andrew Goldfarb,
Holidays are the best because I don't have to go anywhere.
and you get to play video games.
Yeah, and I just get to, or whatever I want to do. Just hang out.
So what are you doing so far this holiday?
Well, Greg and I have been. I need like a moment to just chill because like Greg and I have been just like no one's ever. I don't have any free time anymore.
I push myself very hard, as you know, Jared.
Yes,
and
I'm aware.
with the things I do outside of IGN with my side projects, and as I've brought Colin along with me, now where he's fully on, I've got his wrist, and I'm running him around the same rigmarole.
Oh, so Colin is the dead weight you're dragging behind?
No, he's not the
okay,
dead weight.
okay,
He's
all
just,
right.
I'm Eco, and he's the girl. Orta, what's her name that I'm dragging behind him from
Oh,
Eco?
wow. Okay, so this is big.
I don't
this
know.
You didn't play
is-
Eco? Horn guy?
Oh,
PS2?
Eco. Yeah.
I'm Eco dragging, what's her name? I'm blanking on her name. I want to say Orta, but
Wow.
that's not
Yeah,
right. You know
Orta's
what I'm
not-
saying.
No, yeah. Oh, I know what I recognize the metaphor, and I don't
Okay.
remember her name to save my life, which
I'm
is really embarrassing.
I'm Leon Kennedy, and I'm dragging the president's daughter. There we go.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
but
there
the
we go.
president's daughter is capable of defending. Oh,
Sure,
that's a bad
sure.
reference because the president's daughter sucks.
Yeah, the president's daughter in that game not so great.
The point is that
We're an RPG party, and we're running around
And
now
in
doing
this,
the same
in this
things.
party.
Yeah.
All right.
the
so-
point is that I just don't have any free time because I just don't. So but the next few days are going to be good, and I'm gonna I want to sit down and finish Call of Duty, which I've really been enjoying, and get oh my god, oh dear, and
What was that?
Yeah, that was really loud. Whatever that
I
was.
hope that
I
came
want to play
through.
the Vanishing Ethan Mars, and I want
Me
to.
too.
Not
Oh,
Ethan
yeah.
Mars,
Ethan Carter?
Ethan Carter.
Oh,
Ethan
the
Mars, of
vanishing
course, is
Ethan Mars could be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We should do that.
The
we
vanishing
should-
of
we
Bruno
should-
Mars.
And I want to play The Evil Within, which I've been holding on to for some strange reason. Also, Resogun came to Vita and
Oh,
doesn't
Doctor.
work.
Speaking
And,
of Resident Go and coming to the Vita, people wrote. Is this one of your news stories, by the way? All right, good. People write in to Beyond at IGN.com with their questions all the time, just like Jose did. He says, "Hey, Greg, Beyond.
Beyond.
Don't know if you remember me. I was the guy complaining about the Vita shortages. Well, I'm not complaining anymore. Got my Vita last Sunday, and I love it. I'm playing The Walking Dead, and I'm enamored with this little guy. My girlfriend is actually happy that we have found each other. Smiley face. One question, either for you or one of the Beyond crew. Should I get Resogun on the PlayStation Vita? Is it worth my while on the Vita? If you guys reviewed it already, ignore this email. Much love. Thanks for the support, Jose. We haven't reviewed it yet.
No,
It
I don't
came
know.
out. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was out yet. People started tweeting me.
It came
like,
out
"Oh."
last week in Europe and then in Australia, I think, and then.
And so then, did it limp out to the States overnight? Because it was up in the store this morning.
Yeah, I don't
before
know.
it
I
happened.
don't quite know why it's already out.
Is it this? Traditionally, PlayStation, when there's a holiday, will publish early. Maybe they just published on Monday. Colin and I were on a road trip yesterday. We don't know what happened on the PlayStation Network.
I don't
We're
know
not
what's
caught up
going
there.
on at all.
But what I do know is I saw these things and I was like, oh, interesting. Resogun is out. There's been complaints about this, that, and the other. What's happening with the frame rate? I need to jump in and see what this game's all about. So I downloaded it, booted it up, and then it just says, cannot authenticate this game with the server. And I was like, wait a second. I know I'm PlayStation Plus because I just had to renew the last week.
Okay.
So I went through. That was fine. Then I tweeted about it. Shane Bettenhouse, bless his heart, from PlayStation, tweeted back. He said, what about your licenses? What?
When Greg Miller tweets, Shane Bettenhauser Bettenhauser. I just
Shane.
lost my.
Just call him Shane.
Shane Bettenhausen comes running. There we are. Anyway, let's continue. Wow. Sorry, Shane, if you're listening. My apologies.
He gave me some ideas. I was like, can't do that on Vita. He's like, all right, I'm thinking PlayStation 4. Then he's basically like, top men are working on it.
Yeah.
Then Housemarque tweeted, we're looking into it. We know something's wrong because a million people were tweeting the same screenshot as this, and so that offended me.
Okay.
Because I wanted to be able to come in, tell you if you should get Resogun, Jose, but I can't. Can I answer your question? No way, Jose. It's impossible.
Were you setting that up the whole time? No way, Jose.
I was, yeah.
That's where you were
This
going
man's
with
real
that
name
the
is
whole time.
Jack. No, it's Jose. It's still really Jose. So that's upsetting, Colin.
Yeah, I'm trying to look into. Yeah, okay. So this is true. This is a true thing. Climax Studios is the studio that did the Dead Nation ports to PS4 and PS Vita.
Yeah.
Which also had the same problems that the PS3 version of Dead Nation had. Now I'm questioning what's going on with the studio now that they're porting another Housemarque game over that Resogun that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm sorry. I'm seeing a small trend that I have to identify. I don't know if it has anything to do with them or if it's XDev or if it's
PlayStation Network
QA or PSN, but it's just a little strange to me. Like the Dead Nation thing was really, really strange. Mm-hmm. For people that don't know, Dead Nation on PS3 had this weird bug that if you had 100 maxed out friends list
full friends
on PSN, that the game wouldn't work. It would just crash. And you had to play it offline, and they patched it. And then the PS4 version had the same problem.
Years later.
4 years later.
They ported the original code and didn't look into the updates or something.
And this was done by Climax Studios.
Right.
And now Climax Studios brings Resogun, another Housemarque classic from PS4 now to Vita, and the game has another issue. And it's like, I don't know, guys. I'm just calling it the way I see it. Like, it doesn't have something to do with the quality of the port, or is it QAing or whatever? It's just a little weird because these problems don't happen this isn't a common thing to happen.
Sure.
It's a shame that it's happening to Housemarque's ports. Makes you want them to just do it internally. Obviously they can't because they're working on Alien Nation and hopefully Resogun too. But and Stardust as well.
They're working on a lot of things.
Working on lots of wonderful things that we want.
Right, but they're known for quality. Their games work and they work great. They work immediately since Dead Nation came out, and that was a big problem. They fixed it immediately. They were embarrassed by that problem. It's just weird to me. I guess what I'm saying, that it's the same company porting the same studio's games.
Yeah,
and there's another
same
issue
problems.
with it.
Yeah.
Paul from Ye Old England. Oh, he writes in and he says, "Beyond." Hi, Greg, Colin, and Marty. You have to just be Marty today.
That's okay. Marty's inside me.
Oh, yeah. Marty is inside you for sure. Hair is all up in your gut. Yep, I just wanted to write in to wish everyone who loves Beyond a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I just got Resogun for my Vita. OMFG. It is freaking awesome. Now, it's running fine in England, is what people have been saying.
Okay.
Across the pond, people are downloading it, playing, and enjoying it.
Is that because Gravity's different over there, or? I'm just saying dumb things today.
It could be.
I really need to stop talking.
You better start thinking twice before you say stuff on this show.
I can't say Bettenhausen's name. I've consumed Marty. Now I'm talking about Gravity. And you know what? Beyond Nation, I apologize.
Don't start that again. You got over your apologies. Right. I just know there will be people complaining that the frame rate drops by, but just screw that. In my opinion, the PlayStation 4 best game is now Vita's best game too. I'll be going for the Platinum again. But I have a question. Resogun on PlayStation 4 was free on PlayStation Plus. Resogun on Vita is free because of cross-buy. How the hell can I give Housemarque my money? That's
DLC.
The question. That's the way you get it?
If you want to buy DLC, you can do that. And more DLC is coming. I don't agree from the very brief time I played Resogun at PlayStation Experience that it is good on Vita. I think that the game seemed really off to me compared to the PS4 version. But I'm glad that people are enjoying it. I too have been getting a lot of tweets about people enjoying it. I'm eager to give it another go. When I saw your error message coming up today, I was like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, right.
It's the same thing with Tetris. All I want to do is play Tetris, and freaking Tetris doesn't work. And they're like, well, play it offline. I'm like, what is the fun of playing Tetris offline when I have leaderboards to conquer like I did with Resogun?
Yeah.
Hashtag Colin was right. And so we need what we need with this particular version of Resogun is for I need to weigh in on it. I need to play the game. I need to sit down. I need to figure things out to see if this game is of the same quality as the PS4 version. I doubt it is.
I doubt it.
With that said, Housemarque has many other games you can buy. Super Stardust Delta on Vita, Super Stardust HD on PS3, Outland on PS3, Dead Nation on PS3, PS4, and Vita. They have a ton of games. Alien Nation looks awesome.
You could also get their mailing address and just put money in an envelope.
Yeah, you could. They're in Finland.
That would work.
They're
right?
in Finland.
That's
like
creepy.
Your grandma does at Christmas time. Just like put a
Paul's
card in there.
PS was it's getting to the stage where I'm just going to send a letter filled with bank notes to the studio.
There we are.
Understand.
This is a good plan.
It's important to understand a couple things. We know the guys at Housemarque. They're really nice guys. They're doing very well. They're very intimately involved with Sony. PS Plus games aren't just given out for free randomly.
Yeah.
They are paid a significant amount of money up front, which actually benefits the developer sometimes more than you would think, because it's a risk. We've heard about stories before where people have an option to put their game free or not, and they end up either turning it down and making less money by selling it, or they accept it and make more money by, accepting the lump sum payment of whatever it is.
I want to do a cheap plug and tell you, if you go to the article for Podcast Beyond episode 374 over on ign.com, I'm going to insert the Up at Noon where I talked to the Secret Poncho guys post-launch of their game, and we cover this. Like, what were you thinking getting into PlayStation Plus? Was that a risk? What's the reward kind of thing? And it's interesting to finally hear a developer talk on the record, not about how much money they're getting, mind you, but how the economics worked for them.
Right.
Okay. So let's begin the show with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. Time for some news.
Before I get into the news, I want to just, I've been meaning to do this. Our friend Yuichi from Konami, who is, one of the seminal people that got us Suikoden and Suikoden 2 on PSN, or as I used to call it when I was a kid before I knew how anything was said because we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
Or we aren't talking on the internet. It was Suikoden.
Well, you got to be careful about this stuff. It's like the karate Ross Geller thing. Even if you're saying it right, you don't want to say it right sometimes.
Well, Ryu is Ryu to me. Ninja Gaiden is Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, exactly. It's really
okay.
That makes
Mario.
you just not a jerk. That's okay.
Yeah, I am who I am. Anyway, he, as we know from, because they've said it, this podcast, not us, but really the viewers and maybe Jared. But definitely the viewers and listeners of this podcast were instrumental in convincing Konami to bring Suikoden and Suikoden 2 to PSN.
Yep.
As PS1 classics, which you can play on PS3 or Vita.
And should be playing.
Now, Konami was kind enough, Yuichi was kind enough to send me a code for both games. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to play them, at least anytime soon, because I have no time.
But Colin, but Colin, there's always time for Suikoden.
There is. That's the thing, is there isn't always time for it, because I can barely play the new games that are coming out.
But why are you playing the new games that are coming out? You could be playing Suikoden 2.
That's a good point, but it's essential that I play these new games.
Sleep. You don't have to sleep. You can just play.
Oh, I sleep. I sleep.
Yeah, sleep.
Believe me. I slept till like 12 today. Dear listeners of Beyond, if you are in North America, here's a code for Suikoden 1 I'm going to give away right now, so whoever gets it first, good luck. MKTBFRNPK8J9. Suikoden 2.
That's a good one.
2388 ENNPQ5FJ. Greg, did you know that the 7th digit of a PSN code is always N?
I did not know that.
Now you do.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. Someone pointed it out to me once, because I used to give away codes on Twitter, and I would just put question marks in and stuff like that. And putting a question mark into the 7th one is stupid because it's always N.
Well, it's not stupid. It's just an interesting way to be like, hey, if you're hip to this game, listener of Podcast Beyond, now you know.
Math is weird.
Anyway, on Roper Report this week, 4 items.
It's a quiet week so far.
Yep. Number 1. Titanfall developer Respawn Entertainment officially has a second team working on an unannounced game. Word came by way of studio founder and Call of Duty OG Vince Zampella, who confirmed the existence of the team to Game Informer. Quote, there is a second team, he noted. Quote, non-Titanfall related. The Titanfall team still exists as a fully functional team. We have another team in pre-production that's smaller, just starting up, but it's a much smaller group at this point, end quote. It wasn't in our story, but I also saw, it was on NeoGAF and floating around, was that they basically confirmed that Titanfall 2, whatever the sequel, will not be an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm. I think they've talked about this before, but you can expect that Titanfall 2 will be on PS4.
They've danced around it before, yeah.
And I'm sure that they wish Titanfall 1 was on PS4 as well. Or maybe they didn't, because I'm sure they got a lump sum payment from EA, just like we were talking about PS Plus. Yeah. So that's interesting if you're excited about Titanfall or whatever else that studio's doing. Number 2, I'm disappointed in this one.
Oh no, Colin.
The eagerly anticipated PS4 exclusive Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is apparently nowhere near being completed.
Damn it!
Oh, really?
But is making progress. The game's developer, the Chinese Room, noted that the game is, quote, well past the halfway point, end quote, of development, and will hopefully launch in hopefully launch still in 2015. But
hopefully,
that game was announced a long time ago. I want to say Gamescom 2012. No, 2013. Gamescom 2013, I think it was. Okay. I saw it at E3 this year. Looked awesome. One of my favorite games of the show, for sure.
Loving it.
And I'm just really excited. Santa Monica's involved in helping produce it. XDev's involved helping produce it. I thought that the game was going to be very early this year, and it's apparently I thought, because it's so narrative driven, I assumed that they didn't want to show anything about it.
Yeah.
But Sony is dumping money into the game, so maybe it makes less sense that we have heard so little about it. Mm-hmm. One of my most eagerly anticipated games by far, up there with like Hotline Miami 2 and Mighty No. 9 and a bunch of games that are up there. So hopefully in 2015 still, but yeah, they're past the halfway point. It reminds me of when I was at Square Enix in Japan and they told us Final Fantasy 15. It's much more extreme with them. That Final Fantasy 15 was 55% done, and I'm like, what have you been doing for 8 years?
For those of you that for those listeners that haven't followed the preview coverage of this, can you encapsulate what it is about this game that excites you?
Yeah, it's the portion of the game we saw. It's an adventure game, and it's first person. It's beautiful. It takes place in the 80s in rural England, and it's about a person, from what I can tell, that wakes up and the rapture had happened. And the rapture, of course, is the biblical event when all the believers are taken to heaven. And so,
actually not biblical. Well, that's a whole other theological point. That's more of a theological
extrapolation.
Extrapolation from Scripture.
From Revelation.
Yeah, because like the word rapture never actually appears in Scripture. It's an interpretive thing.
It's kind of like a Catholic
I've just
thing, right?
angered like one third of Christianity and validated the other 2/3 at this point. But
it's Catholic specifically, right? Like Catholic dogma.
Actually, not necessarily even Catholic doctrine. No, it's more of some sects of Calvinism along with some conservative sects of other churches.
Everybody who read the Left Behind.
I asked just because my mom. Who's not a she's a religious person, I guess, but she's not really a practicing. We're Catholic. We're Italian and Irish, so obviously we're very Catholic. As a family, we used to tell me about the rapture when I was a kid, and I used to be horrified by it. Yeah. And my assumption, my grandma used to talk about it too, so my assumption was like, I guess it's like a Catholic kind of thing, kind of like purgatory or something. So the game, it's basically about like figuring out what happened, and as far as I can tell, we saw like 20-25 minutes of the game. Person's like walking through this beautiful like wheat field. The sun's like setting. There's trees all around. You go into a house and you start exploring it, and it's kind of like Gone Home. It's prettier than Gone Home. Mm-hmm. A little more mysterious than maybe Gone Home. I assume it's a little meatier than Gone Home too. Gone Home was awesome. So we'll see. I mean, it's one of those heady PlayStation games that frankly only PlayStation publishes on consoles.
Yeah.
You don't see those kinds of games on Xbox. You certainly don't see those kinds of games on Nintendo platforms.
Whereupon Sony's managed to carve just a wonderful industry out of this.
Yeah, I mean, think about games like Journey and The Unfinished Swan and these games that just don't make any sense. Mm-hmm. But that end up being awesome. Journey is like one of the great games of all time.
One of the great bands, too.
It is one. I mean, we're in San Francisco. I mean, we better be careful if you say it anyway. Number 3. Telltale is working on yet another adventure series. This one based on the most unnarrative game of them all, Minecraft. The series will be called Minecraft Story Mode and will be a narrative-based game that takes place in the Minecraft universe. It will still be Minecrafty, in quotes, in some way, according to Mojang.
I'm sure.
Which means
it will come to many
pigs.
Yeah, it'll be that. It'll have the same exact art style. Yeah.
And it will come to many platforms, including PS4, PS3, and Vita, starting in 2015. Now, when I saw this, I didn't want to get into being negative about it, but I have to express myself about this. Telltale's getting precariously close to jumping the shark now.
You think really?
Because they're just doing everything now. Like it becomes. I mean, obviously, marrying yourself with the most profitable and lucrative video game property in the world is a smart business idea. What I mean by that is, the more Telltale does, the less special what they do becomes. And that's just it. So like when The Walking Dead when I played The Walking Dead season 1, I was I waited till I haven't even played the second one yet. That's another game. I'm going to do that this break. When I played that game, I was astounded by how good it was.
Yeah.
Especially because I played Back to the Future, and it was just crap.
It got off the rails.
And like especially like in the later episodes, it was just like I was like, this game kind of sucks. And I was so pleasantly surprised by the narrative they built and the voice acting and this beautiful story that they told and the choices that I felt like really mattered and resonated with people.
Right.
Then they announced The Wolf Among Us, and I haven't played that yet, and I don't care about it.
Game of Thrones.
Then they do Game of Thrones, and that game comes
Borderlands.
out. Now they did Borderlands, and that comes out. Now they're doing. It's like I don't want to see you now for a while. Like I'm not interested in seeing you anymore.
Counterpoint here.
Okay.
Counterpoint
Yeah, no, of course.
All of those are good.
Yeah.
Okay, and that there's a good story in almost anything. That doesn't mean the story's going to get told. There's a terrible story in almost anything. You take Star Wars and you compare Episode 1 and Episode 4. There's a great story in 4 and a terrible story in 1 in the same core concept in the same universe. You take these properties, you can find a way to tell a really neat story about just about anything if you do it right. William Faulkner built his career on talking about a one county area in Mississippi, and he managed to write 20 or so great short stories and novels out of that single setting from that single little time period. Telltale has a great shtick right now. I mean, the unifying factor on all those games, beside the fact they're bouncing out in different directions, but the ones you mentioned have all been really solid, all the way up to pretty darn excellent. There have been weak episodes here and there, but most of their stuff's been great. I think a Minecraft story-based game is weird, but if I'm a writer at a games company, somebody says, I want you to create a narrative out of Minecraft.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's a very exciting opportunity, and I'm good with, until they screw it up. I didn't like the idea of Toy Story 2 when they announced it. I was like, a sequel to a Pixar movie? Are you kidding me? Little did we know, Now, but back then I was like, are you kidding? And then I watched it, and now it's very close to my favorite Pixar movie after The Wonderful Wall-E. It's a very well done thing. So you can do the same thing over and over as long as you keep doing it well. I'm going to wait for him to screw up before I get worried.
I see both sides of this argument, I'm way more with Jared, and the fact that, but I understand totally that the more games they put out, the less special it is. And do they care about that? Probably not. They want to make money. They want to make great products, and they're doing that. But it's the same thing of like Walking Dead season 1 came out, and it was like, everyone was talking about it. It was Game of the Year nods, this, that, and the other. And Walking Dead season 2 came out, and everybody's like, oh, it was really good. And nobody's like talking about it on that level this time, right? Because I think we've seen so much of it since then.
But frankly, I don't think that anyone's talking. No one's ever going to talk about their games like they talked about The Walking Dead ever again.
Probably, yeah.
And I mean, what is the example of them talking about anything, like, even to the point of the way The Walking Dead was mentioned the first season? Because it was special. And if you disappear for a while and do something special again, and I'm not saying that these games aren't special because I haven't played them, but I'm saying special, like it was unique. It was a jump from Back to the Future and Jurassic Park, right?
Right.
It was a jump,
right,
and quality. And I know that these games are quality ridden, but I saw Borderlands and I saw Game of Thrones, and I'm like, this is just the same game in a different universe with different characters, And to me, to counter your point, because you're saying like, what's wrong if it's always quality? Like, what made Mega Man 9 and 10 so special to me was that they came out years after Mega Man 6 came out. Okay. Like years and years, over a decade and a half after Mega Man 6 came out. We waited, we wanted it. And 9 came out, and then 2 years later, 10 came out. And that's it. Now, if they kept releasing those games every year, I might like that, but they might become less special to me too.
Sure.
So I'm just saying, I'm glad people enjoy them. More power to Telltale. They're nice guys over there. They make good games. And I enjoy their games. I enjoy The Walking Dead very much. And I'm going to play The Walking Dead Season 2, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. All I'm saying is that when I saw that announcement, I'm like, this is getting really close now to too much, And do they want to make money? Of course. Do they have a formula that works? Of course. And is it going to keep working? Of course. All I'm saying is that I would like for them to just sit back and be like, how can we instead of making another great game, how can we change everything again like we did with The Walking Dead?
Oh, I think there's some validity in what you're saying there, too. Again, to run back on that again, 2 points. First, you just mentioned Mega Man 9 and 10. Let's just talk about those because they're wonderful. But those were, part of what made those special was it had been a long time. The other part was that they were informed by that long gap between them. People were able to look back and say, oh, look, here were the best parts of those designs. You mentioned Mega Man 6, which is honestly not very good. Those are
I personally love 6, but
do you?
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Two and 3 are where a lot is drawn from. Also, a decade of game design and the ability of people to look back and go, oh, maybe this worked and this didn't. I think that, like you said, something special may be created from a new mode of storytelling game. It's not like Telltale created adventure games; they just recreated them by doing the same. They looked back at old adventure games and found what worked and what didn't, and did something very like that before. It can happen again, but I think the other part of it is you're missing the fact that there's a very good chance I'm about to have an adventure game where I can have a conversation with a boxy pig while I'm wearing a pumpkin on my head. And that counts for a lot.
I mean, I understand the gravity of that situation.
That's really important.
And
I think that honestly, the ability to do that and to know that the pig remembers what I said is going to be... That's
for
really,
me,
the pig remembers this.
I think Borderlands was, for me, their make or break. I was just like, okay, we're in this universe now too, and then I got it, and I put on the PS4 and didn't even think about it because I just don't care that much about Borderlands story. Like I like Borderlands, I love playing them, but like I haven't gone back and I'm not thinking about Handsome Jack and what's happening in the world. And
you're not?
No, not at all. And so when I finally was one night when I just didn't know what to play on a Friday night, drinking an old fashioned, chilling out, trying to find the right game to fit my mood. I was like, oh, right, Borderlands, I'll try that, and then played through it and loved it. Laughed out loud. It was hilarious. It was great, and it's like, all right, well, if they can do that with a franchise where I'm like, nah, you know what I mean? Like to go into Minecraft and have this thing and whatever they're going to do next. I agree that, like, I think as a fan of their games and stuff, it would be awesome if they hard stopped, didn't have 4 projects announced, came back and like, hey, we fixed the engine everybody hates, and it doesn't run like crap, and this doesn't happen, and then it's not erasing your saves, and you're not T-posing all over the place. That'd be rad, but then there's the realities of running a development house or a studio and having a staff, right, that you need to be producing, creating, and doing stuff, and you hope
I guess
the next change will have to come at you, imagine, with their next round of projects that they redo the engine. Or they
I
do this,
suppose.
that,
I mean, I think the economic realities are certainly there. We don't presume to know. I don't presume to know what their economic reality is.
I know they
but
need money.
I know that they scale up, and I know that they have a lot of teams now. So
Yeah.
it doesn't
Clearly.
have to be like that. And
Sure.
and I'm just saying, like,
I
don't-
totally understand. You have valid
The
point.
Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. If not for, let's see, Journey that year, Journey and the Unfinished Swan, maybe Hotline Miami. That was an extraordinary game.
Mm-hmm.
That like would have been maybe my game of the year.
Yeah.
And I don't even really like The Walking Dead. Like
the game or the series you mean?
the series.
He doesn't like the source material.
Like I don't really read the comics.
right.
The show is like just too much for me at this point. But like that universe is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the deep south and the zombie apocalypse is very weird. It's like a very weird show because
Yeah.
you usually expect like a more metropolitan kind of thing going on or a midwestern thing. This is a southern thing.
Yeah.
And I really I enjoy that. Obviously Robert Kirkman's a visionary.
Up to about issue 40, he's a visionary. Then he just jumps the shark and never
shut
does good again.
up.
But
You're a monster. We're
So-
going to talk about that another
The Walking
time.
Dead is
We're gonna have to
awful.
talk. The
awful.
comic book?
After about issue 40, it's terrible.
Get the out of here, you piece of shit.
So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I really just want to see. It's the same thing like you can say about any studio. I mean, not that making Telltale's games is certainly much easier than making a AAA game like The Last of Us, but you could say like Naughty Dog, don't just keep doing what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, or you can say like, why, Uncharted 3 came out in 2011. We're not going to get Uncharted 4 until 2015, maybe. I mean, they say it is. I mean, and hopefully it comes out in the fall. And that time lets them make a game that looks, from what we saw at PSX, like it's going to be extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And I don't see from my eye in any of these things that I'm seeing the extraordinary that I saw
It's now
in
the
The Walking
ordinary.
Dead.
It's now the ordinary.
Exactly. So that's all I'm
The
saying.
extraordinary that was The Walking Dead the first time on first blush is now the ordinary.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. More power to them, whatever. I mean, the consumers are certainly speaking. And finally, number 4, miscellaneous news.
Ooh.
Resident Evil's new remake coming in 2015 will be cross-buy, giving players access to both PS4 and PS3 versions for the price of one. I still have no idea why they're doing that. We were talking about this. The cross-buy between Vita and PS4 or Vita and PS3 makes sense. It does not make sense between PS4 and PS3. Like, I don't understand.
It's just the hope that you're buying games and then you're digitally so that you can be like, oh, if I upgrade, it's great. As a PlayStation 4 owner, it's like makes no sense.
As a PS3 owner, I can see that. That's
you're
true.
building a library. You're making things.
I think it's more of a way for them, like, just to check a box and be like, oh, we're cross-buy.
Sure. Get the little controller in the back.
Let's see. One Piece Pirate Warriors 3 is officially coming to Western markets on PS4, PS3, Vita, and Steam in 2015. New Far Cry 4 DLC has been revealed. It's called Escape from Durgash Prison and will launch on January 13, 2015. Disgaea 5's Western release has been confirmed. It will launch in the fall of 2015 exclusively on PS4 and will be called Disgaea 5 Alliance of Vengeance in the West. I never told this story. I was in Japan when they revealed the game and right before TGS when they really talked about it for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I was I went to a news conference for it. They had like a conference just for the game. And I know the president of NS. I met him a few times, but there's a bunch of people there. Pretty much all Japanese press, and then me and a few guys from the West. Mm-hmm. And they didn't. NIS for some reason didn't think through the translation thing at all. So it was because it was literally 99% Japanese people that didn't need translation. So a guy over there, a really nice guy, one of their head producers, this guy named Alan, kneeled behind me and Jeremy Parrish from US Gamer and was whispering in our ear for an hour as they were talking. All the they had like the voice actors and they did like this whole thing or whatever with
presentation.
Yeah, like it was like a huge like hour long thing just on Disgaea.
Okay.
And he was just whispering. He's like, so now he said, it's like not even later. He was like, now he's talking about how much of an honor it is for him to be in the game. Now he's talking about how he's a huge Disgaea fan. Like it was like that. I was like, this is so funny, man.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. But I know a lot of people are really excited about that.
Damon Hatfield is.
And,
Damon Hatfield loves that.
Probably
Disgaea.
Vince too, right? He loves that.
No, I don't talk to Vince, and I won't.
You don't talk to Vince? Why don't you
I
talk
don't
to
like
Vince?
Vince.
What's wrong with Vince?
He needs to cut his hippie hair.
Vince is good people. He's serving me octopus on Christmas Eve tomorrow.
Oh, very Italian.
Yeah, very excited.
Taco
about this.
nigiri.
No,
Calamari?
No.
Not
Actually,
calamari.
we're going Asia the next day with ramen.
Okay,
On Christmas, but no, this isn't taco nigiri. But by the way, very good.
Oh, I love taco nigiri.
Oh, it's good stuff.
My
isn't it?
favorite.
Do you prefer it raw or do you like it? Cooked and then put on?
No, I like it raw.
You like it raw?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure which way, but
There's a song about that.
You ever had
Raw
odori?
octopus? I like it raw.
Yeah.
How's it go?
Yeah, baby, I like it raw.
I never heard that one.
Have you ever had
Oh
sushi
my
odori?
god.
Go ahead,
I
find it. I don't
interrupted.
know. Have I ever had sushi what now?
Odori before?
What's that one?
Okay,
What's that
odori
one?
means dancer. This blew my mind. Have
Oh,
you
is
ever
this
had-
with the soy?
No, this is amazing. Have you ever had it, Colin?
What is it?
I
I'm
know you've
sorry.
been to Japan several times. You had it at Odori, sushi Odori.
I don't eat seafood.
Okay. Oh, I did not know that. Oh, I'm a poor Colin fan. Okay, so yeah, I'm sitting at a sushi bar with a friend and there are these huge tiger prawns in the tank behind the bar. So I'm like, what are those for? And he goes, Odori, which means dancer. I'm like, oh, what's that? And he points, and the guy thrusts his arm to the tank, grabs the live tiger prawn, whoosh, 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 slaps it on a piece of nigiri rice, and the tail's just flapping up and down like this. And the thing's like twisting. He's like, eat quickly, Odori. It's dancing. Oh, okay. So I've talked myself into this, so here it goes. And it's moving around in my mouth, and the tail sticks out and does this. Bite down on it, and then, and you know what? If that wasn't the best piece of shrimp I've ever had, I was shocked. I honestly was, because I eat sushi, but I was terrified of eating. It was good enough I had a second piece.
Exactly. When you go, like when we went for Thanksgiving last year, when we were in Japan, we went out with Shuhei Yoshida.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we went out to a catch your own fish restaurant. And we caught a lobster.
Okay.
And then they walked around, came right back with this lobster nigiri, and we were like, I've never had lobster nigiri, and it was amazing. It was so good.
I've never had lobster nigiri.
It was so good.
Oh, it sounds really good.
All right, this is the raw song.
I can't believe you don't know this song. It's Old Dirty Bastard, Shimmy Shimmy Ya. You really never heard this?
I love ODB, and I don't know this. I mean, I know the one song everybody knows from college.
Oh my God.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Anyway, when you said that, I thought for sure you would understand.
Sorry, no, I missed that one.
One other thing I wanted to say about NIS real quick. They were here. I was talking to them. There was a story going on about them. I don't think we wrote about it because it's very niche. But in Famitsu or somewhere in Japan, they solicit what's going on in the year, what's happening in the year from all these different developers and publishers. And NIS wrote in sarcastically saying, we're releasing Disgaea 5. You really need to buy it. We're going to go out of business. Okay. And everyone took that as like being serious. And I talked to them like, what the hell is that all about? Because like the expectation of the game selling is like 250,000 copies. I'm like, that's really high. I don't think you guys are going to hit that number.
Yeah.
They're like, it was sarcastic. Like, we're fine. You know, and I'm like, yeah, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you publish tons of games that are really popular, especially in the West.
Yeah.
Like Danganronpa. So, although I wonder if they ever do another Danganronpa game, if another big publisher is going to get wise to the fact that a lot of people skipped on this game and shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, NIS is fine. Good, because I know some people were.
Which is good news.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because the NIS makes the good stuff.
And finally, new fighting game J-Star's Victory VS Plus will launch in the West in the summer of 2015 on PS4, PS3, and Vita. And that is all.
We have more good news.
What's
this
that
is
good
another
news?
item. And I'll warn everyone ahead of time. This is gonna start like one of the ones where I start laughing maniacally, and then it leads into where you get your games and all that crap. This is a real story.
Okay.
This one comes from Jefferson Ferguson. He says, "Dear Colin, Greg, and Marty, firstly, Beyond. This week, my girlfriend and I are in Hawaii celebrating Christmas before we head to San Francisco this weekend. While on the beach, I perched on one knee, declared my undying love, and asked her to be my wife. She foolishly said yes. Muhahaha, he writes. Afterward, a person asked her if it felt good to be engaged. Her reply was simply, Beyond. I immediately thought of my best friends. You guys. Much love, Jefferson Ferguson. I thought that was a sweet little story.
Yeah, it is a nice story.
If we're really your best friends, as we say, everybody who watches this show, you're a best friend by listening to this. You know us better than anybody. Jefferson, we expect wedding invitations.
Absolutely.
And maybe to be a groomsman. I'm just putting it out there. Me
I'm
and Colin
available.
up there. Colin and I up there.
Greg drags me out around everywhere else. Why not go
Yeah.
to this
But
as
you
well?
look good in tuxes,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah. Well, that's why people get married in tuxes. They hide everything. Everybody looks good in tuxes. That's the whole point of
vest
formal
or
wear.
cummerbund.
Oh, vest.
I like the vest. Yeah,
I like the vest,
yeah, the
too.
vest. Cummerbund's
Kind of vest.
out of style, if you ask me.
Not
Jared.
that Benedict Cumberbund, though.
He needs to
he's
stop
hot
being in
stuff right
movies. He's too popular right now. Jared,
Yes, sir.
you get to pick the question.
I get to pick the question.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Here are your topics.
All right.
Finishing games.
Uh-huh.
Valkyria Chronicles.
Okay. Finishing
Jumping
games?
into the PlayStation ecosystem.
Uh-huh.
If someone should get a Vita.
Uh-huh.
And how do you pick a PlayStation Network name that doesn't suck?
Let's go with Valkyria Chronicles.
Real quick, before you even get into the story, you skipped an entire portion of the
I was wondering
podcast.
about
Oh, you're
that.
right. I did. Sorry. We're on a short. It's already 46 minutes, and this is like one where I need to get out of here. So.
But what about the Andrew Goldfarb list of reasons you should be playing Suikoden 2 this week?
We'll be real quick. People hate when you think we need to be exact. Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse, Episode 2 is available on Vita digitally. Field Runners 2 is available on Vita digitally. Resogun is available on PS3 and Vita digitally. Cross-buy, kind of. If you want it on PS4, it should be free. Shakespeare's is available on PS3
Is it based on the pizza place in Columbia, Missouri?
Shakespeare's is a game of glory, honor, and fame.
Okay.
Become a valiant knight and enter tournaments to compete for the heart of a beautiful lady. Travel through 4 worlds of wonder, win battles in 20 cities, and beat challenging bosses in this epic game. It's time to become a hero for the ages. Switch Galaxy Ultra, which I've been waiting for a while, is on PS4 and Vita digitally. And Shrine Enchanted Edition, which I think is the 17th time Shrine has been re-released, is available on PS4 digitally. And that is it. Go on.
Bashar writes in and says, Beyond.
Beyond.
I email you from beyond the seas from Amman, Jordan, and I have a question. Valkyria Chronicles on the PS3 has slipped completely under my radar for some reason. Stumbled upon its review a few months ago and fell in love with the art and combat system. Ran to my PlayStation 3 to download it, only to find it's only available in disc form. Ordering it online isn't an option for me, and my friends who traveled to the US recently had no luck finding it in stores. Was released in 2008. Will this game make it to the PlayStation 4? Did you guys like and play the game? Have they released it this past November on PC? Does that make it more likely or less likely to come to my PlayStation 4? My PC can't run games. Bashar.
I don't know. I mean, Valkyria Chronicles 2 was a PSP game, right?
Yep. I'll tell you right now, I played Valkyria Chronicles. I loved Valkyria Chronicles. I reviewed 2, played the hell out of 2. You will not get this on PlayStation 4. They didn't even go back to patch it with trophies. They made the sequel to PlayStation Portable. They made the sequel to that only in Japan on PlayStation Portable, and we've never gotten a translation for Valkyria Chronicles 3. Like, it's bad news bears.
Yeah, Sega's the publisher and owner of that IP, so it's not looking too good because they don't treat a lot of their stuff with that people want with seeming respect, as it were. Sometimes a lot of people get mad at them for something. Phantasy Star Online 2, for instance.
Let us speak no more of that. I am mad now. You said those words, and my head turned red. And
I was going to say,
like
Hulk out.
Yeah, they're not going to. I mean, them releasing it on Steam was just a nice way to get some revenue, I think.
Yeah. What was this young man's name again?
Bashar.
Bashar, really, no matter what links you have to go to, it's worth getting your hands on.
Yeah.
Hunt it down. I don't think they're going to release it on PS4 either, but it's a must-play on the PS3.
Yes,
it's
100%.
A superb video game.
The fact that it came to PC, it made me hopeful. But I'm not. I think it was such an easy port for them that they just didn't even worry about it. Like, it'd be great to see it come to PlayStation 4, but that would mean putting trophies in it and doing different things with it. And I guess you kind of have Steam achievements if they're active on it, but I doubt it, and it sucks because that's such a great game. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Love it. But Bashar, what I'm going to do is email you and send you my PlayStation 3 copy because that game does need to be played. Awesome. So that's the easiest way to do it. Colin, ecosystem. If you should get a Vita, a guides question, how to pick a PlayStation Network game that doesn't suck, or Wildcard Rant.
Wildcard Rant.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wildcard Rant this week, which is a new segment, I guess, comes from Dan. Dan writes in and says, Dear Greg, Colin, and Marty, Beyond. So I'm writing in to get your opinion on something. Collector's editions pre-orders. I've been a huge gamer for my entire life, and I love collector's edition. I have some really rare ones, like the Joel and Ellie statue. I made the mistake of waiting till now to pre-order the premium edition for the order. To my surprise, they're sold out everywhere. What really frustrates me is that you can go on eBay right now to see this pre-order being sold for almost double what they cost people who don't even want themed, just want to make a little profit. Themed, I don't know what he means there. He's ramped up.
He's angry.
This is the same problem with the whole amiibo craze right now. I know a lot of the pre-ordering has to do with inventory and shipments and all that, but personally, I think collector's editions should not be able to be pre-ordered. You should have to go to the store and wait for one or only be able to order one the day they come out, because too many people who don't even want one to buy one with the intentions to selling them for profit just needed a little rant. I'm sorry. Awesome work as always, guys. Always making my Tuesdays better. Oh. Dan DiSorcino.
Damn, Dan. Chill out, my man. Chill out, my dude.
Chill out, my dude.
Dan wanted his order. Order was taken out of his life, and all he had left was chaos.
I mean, Dan slept on the Switch.
Yeah.
You get out there, and I love you, Dan. Thank you for listening. Don't get me wrong, but come on, just pre-order a little bit earlier. They announced him. They were out there. You want to talk about And the offense of the whole pre-ordering and the selling thing, it's the PlayStation 20th anniversary edition of the PlayStation 4.
that was a little much.
That was a boondoggle, and I'm not happy with how it went down.
And we don't know what kept Dan from getting his pre-order in earlier too. I mean, something Dan's house could have been hit by a meteor. There could have been dinosaurs outside. Sure. Dan, he might have had to save a life.
But here's the thing. Dan's hip to the collector's edition game.
He's hip. He's ahead of the curve.
You get that credit card, you throw it down. Maybe you don't have the money now, I understand. But if you're this crazed about the pre-orders, about the collector's editions, you pre-order the collector's edition. It comes around, you don't have it, you flip it on eBay. And you flip it the right way.
He did not get his Wii Fit trainer. He did not get his villager.
Yeah, these amiibos.
He did not get his order.
But see, again, like I had asked around the office here. I'm like, I got this guy I love. I want to buy him a Christmas gift of a Mega Man amiibo. Well, how do I do that? And I'm like, on Amazon, there's no listing. Like, don't go to GameStop. Go do that. I went to GameStop. I pre-ordered. Now it's done. Comes in February. Colin's got a Christmas gift in
Okay,
February.
so you got to head that. So
Yeah.
I've considered shattering the cabinet in the back of the office and just taking all the ones out of there that we have on display.
Probably just open it. It's probably not even locked.
Yeah, I don't think you have to
okay,
do
there's
that.
that too.
You probably just ask Jose. I see him with carts of amiibos every time.
Just
and
traveling around
that's
with
all he does.
arms.
He doesn't come in the office anymore. He just goes to Target and takes photos of his cart.
The Santa Claus of amiibos.
All right. Final question, Jared Petty. You ready
Oh,
for your
for me?
topics?
Oh,
well,
okay,
no.
here we
You get to pick.
Oh, okay, cool.
Finishing games. A good time for the ecosystem. Should someone get a Vita? How to pick a name that doesn't suck. A PlayStation Network name that doesn't suck.
I think if it was finish games instead of finishing games, I'd go with finishing games or with finished games. But since we're not talking about the Finns, I'm going to go with Should I Get a Vita? Why not? We'll go with good. Should I Get a Vita?
Yes.
Jason from Pennsylvania writes in and says Beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah.
Greg, Colin at the bolted down third chair. After watching Beyond for a while, I'm trying to decide if I should get a Vita. What should my first game, and also how many gigabytes is enough for the Vita? Thanks for everything you do, Beyond.
Beyond.
You want as many gigabytes as you can get, number one.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if you want to get real crazy with it, you import the 64 gig one from Japan.
Which you should. That's what I have. It's a lifesaver. I haven't had to think about it since I bought it. Running around that sexy pink and black Vita having a gay old time.
All of this, but you're going to do okay with the 32 if that's all you can get your hands on, right?
Sure.
It's not
going to be all right.
I have a 16 gig one, and I'm totally smitten with it too. I mean, it's just it's like how I felt about my PS3 or my PS4. Eventually, like you just have these games on your cross media bar for vanity.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, there's games. I like
And
having
who
the
really
library.
cares?
I have the library of games on my Vita that I'm never going back to.
Yeah, so I just delete stuff. I have like 2 gigs free on my.
Am I ever going back to Dusk Force? No, but I like knowing it's there.
Yeah.
I like seeing it in my little
Yeah,
digital
no, I
I like
library.
the Dust Force. The Dust
It was
Force is
fun.
good.
No, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying.
It's a
Not
good
going
game.
back to it, though.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get it. I would go with I don't go with the 4 gig memory card. That's what I did when we imported them from Japan.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had that lasted about 2 seconds, and I was like, well, that's way too small.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely get a Vita, of course.
First game, I say Persona 4 Golden. It's all you need if you're especially if you don't have that much money.
P4G is pretty superb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Suikoden 2 is now available.
True. That's also true.
But yeah, P4G.
What game really says Vita though? I mean, like
Little deviants.
Danganronpa.
Something that's like you're talking about the soul of the Vita.
Yeah, or just
Danganronpa's
something you
pretty
can
good
play on
choice,
Vita.
yeah.
I mean, you can play Persona 4 on PS2.
Yeah, but not this one
is
with
great.
trophies, with his amazing voice, this amazing, the look of it, the HD, the repolishedness. See, I don't think it's as simple as it's a port.
Spelunky's a great port again, but that's a port.
Sure.
That's great on
Yeah,
Vita.
Rogue Legacy, Velocity.
Yeah, Rogue Legacy is good.
Velocity 2X.
Yeah. I mean, Velocity 2X might be the choice if you're looking for something that screams, this is something that's Vita. I mean, granted, again, it's cross-buy because everything's cross-buy.
But as great as all these things are, really, you kind of owe it to yourself and life to play Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah. Agreed with that.
It's so good.
Colin. I have a lot of segments on here. I didn't even get to some of them. You ready for some of them? Let's do a speed round of the PlayStation Network Hit of the Week. This one comes from James in East Texas.
Hello.
He says, Dear Greg, Colin, and the stationary Sleva. That's nice.
Wow, the station.
If Marty ever comes here and is here for consecutive episodes, that'd be a great
I
name
really
for him.
feel that Marty should be here right now. It's like he's just been established. He's right, yeah, and then I just,
The holidays, man. There's nothing we can do about them.
man.
On the 8th of December, I was admitted to the hospital because I suddenly lost the ability to walk after undergoing both a laminectomy, thank you, and a
Microdiscectomy.
Thank you. Things have gone from bad to worse. Due to complications with my health post-op, I've been admitted to what is essentially a nursing home in order to undergo long-term physical therapy and observation. As a result, I'm missing out spending the holidays with my family and friends, and that's having a terrible effect on my morale. Listening to Podcast Beyond has been one of the few distractions that have kept me sane through the grueling and terrifying process. Thank you for being a bright spot in an otherwise grim situation. Based on what you guys have said here on the podcast, I've decided to pick up Freedom Wars. Yeah, hell yeah, Freedom Wars. To pass the time between physical therapy sessions. It should arrive on Christmas Day, and I'm greatly looking forward to playing it. I was wondering if you could share some beginner's tips for a fellow who has never played this particular type of game before, and if you'd be willing to put my PlayStation screen name out there so that I might try co-op with a few fellow Beyond listeners. My PSN name is TARDIS_type_40, the numerals 40. TARDIS.
TARDIS.
Yes.
Underscore type
Doctor
underscore
Who's
40. I got it the first time.
Yeah.
Happy holidays and beyond. Well, first off, Sir from Texas, James from East Texas. We'll feel better soon. Sorry about all of this.
Yes.
I'm glad you have a good outlook. I'm glad we're there for you. You're there for us. You get us through our days, everything we have to do. So we're happy to do it for you. That's how this family works. Everyone, make sure you go be hit of the week with him. And tips for Freedom Wars. In the beginning of Freedom Wars, I say just jump in and have fun. Don't worry about the sentence. This was a big problem when Christine started playing. She would get mad at the game when she'd, run away from her accessory and get more years. And I was like, the point of the game isn't to get it down to 0 years. You're going to be a crazy player to do that. I beat the game with like 850 or whatever it was. You know what I mean? 850,000 years still on my sentence of 1 million. So that's not the point. Have fun with it. Run around. See what you like. Make dumb mistakes. Break down your weapons early on. It's through like what? Code 4. It's all very much like, whatever, like, you're doing it, and then it turns a corner where it's like, now it's going to get really hard.
Pipes.
They're all pipes. So that'd be my thing. Have fun. You'll figure it out as you go.
I agree.
A lot of good online resources to figure out what it all means, how it all works.
Yeah,
That's
it's a good game. Very good game.
Well, this is James, right?
Yes, this is James from East Texas.
Okay, so James, this isn't for Freedom Wars, but I'm Petty Jared on Twitter. Shoot me a message. I'll follow you, and we can DM. Your situation's very similar to where Angie is right now, and if you want somebody to talk to through the holidays, just keep up with me, okay?
You will, probably. Angie should probably be playing Freedom Wars.
Yeah, Angie probably.
You should be playing it for her, I guess, because you got the one hand. I guess you can't do
that's
it.
the thing. She's actually been. So we're using
a lot of Wii games.
We started with a Game Boy Micro.
Oh, nice.
Which I love. The tiny, super light one for therapy because that right hand she's starting to be able to use her fingers a little bit.
Okay.
And
okay.
We're going to work our way up from there. So that's the plan.
Good.
Colin.
Yes.
Are you ready for our new favorite segment that's not new anymore? Worst PlayStation Network name of the week.
Yes.
This one comes from Finkelmeyer. Now, I'm assuming his PlayStation Network name. He's not saying his is bad, so let's not judge him too quickly. Finkelmeyer. He says Beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah.
I saw this while playing Black Ops 2 the other night. Ghetto Child 69er. Ghetto Child 69er. How you feel about that one?
It's not the worst.
It's not the worst. The problem is that some of the worst are really bad, and I don't feel comfortable saying them anymore.
Okay.
But
Did you get in trouble or something saying?
No, not like the lapendectomy words over there or whatever. I'm saying like...
No, I'm saying, did you get in trouble saying them?
No. Nobody listens to this podcast. We can say whatever we want here. All hail Hydra. Nobody cares. You think any of our bosses are this deep into the show? The only time we ever get in trouble is when you guys make a point to say something to them about something we said. You don't understand. Tree of trust. You're in the tree of trust here. Don't say nothing. I don't know. Putting child and 69er in there I thought was a little bit special.
I don't know. I'm not that impressed by that one.
All right, fine. Then there you go, Finkelmeyer.
Nah.
You made me look bad in front of Colin. I hope you're happy.
All I hear is like Elvis singing, "Cold and gray Chicago born,
Yeah.
a itty bitty child is born in the ghetto,
In the ghetto.
and his mother cries."
See, that's a real song. Everybody knows that song.
Everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Podcast Beyond episode 374. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope if you're celebrating the holidays, you enjoy those holidays and have a great time. Remember, Podcast Beyond will be here each and every Tuesday. That's how we roll. You can get the MP3 each and every Tuesday, ign.com. Podcast service is your choice. Then, Wednesdays, you get the video version of the show on ign.com, on the IGN PlayStation 4 app, on youtube.com/IGN. Then, you keep up with everybody on Twitter. IGN's IGN. I'm Game Over Greggy. Colin is No Taxation. As Jared Petty said, he is Petty, Jared. We're happy to have you back, Jared.
I'm really happy to be here, and I appreciate you guys having me here. When I'm still kind of a grease fire, I'm all over the place. My brain doesn't work right. Thank you for the welcome.
Just so you know, I don't think your brain ever worked right. So
No, that's true.
I don't think it's you're
Beyond.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.